What is wrong with what Pam Luke did?
Well, they are teachers, and their job is to teach, yes? And what children need is to be given knowledge through knowledge of subjects so that they can become independent, critical thinkers, but knowledgeable people. And that is the job of the teacher. The job of the teacher is not to say, me, I'm this or I'm that, whatever that may be. The job of the teacher is actually to teach. And that's what the children need from the teachers. And if you teach them that way, you will also, including your teaching, will be respect for the individual. Every child is an individual. That will be one of obviously the moral principles that's embodied in your teaching, which should be.
I completely agree that we are raising these young people to be critical thinkers. We're raising them to be good, decent, understanding, upstanding members of the community. And especially in a city like Brighton, but actually, no, all over the country and all over the world, we need to be educating these children to be decent people. And if the part of that comes to them and saying, we don't like homophobic language, we don't like gay used as a pejorative, and then 1% of that assembly is saying, and actually that's because I'm gay and because Luke is gay, then I believe that that is teaching them something, and it's teaching them something fundamental that they can't quite get in a classroom.
That snippet of that day assembly actually was a longer assembly, which was mostly about homophobic, biphobic and transphobic bullying. And we were saying that I'm offended by this, Pam's offended by this. And we are being role models to those students, saying that actually you don't have to stand up and say, I'm a victim of that. We will say, we find this not OK. This is the end of it.
Yes, and I would suggest that what you should be telling them is that all bullying is wrong. That is the point. But it's not about your individual identity. It's not should not be focusing on yourselves as individuals. And that applies to all teachers. They should simply teach the children.
But Katie, don't you think teaching at the moment is actually about so much wider than maths, geography, French? A lot is expected of teachers. We expect them to educate.
It shouldn't be so wide. It shouldn't be so wide. It should actually focus on the knowledge that children actually should have. That's where the focus should be. It should not be all over the place.
I'm just going to say...
taking up fashionable issues and so on. No.
There's two curriculums at school. There is the curriculum of maths, English, science, etc. And there's the hidden curriculum, which teaches you punctuality, how to look smart, etc. But also that's about being a moral, ethical person in society. And
an individual.
And an individual.
Yes,
and what we are saying is it's OK to be that individual. It's OK to be diverse. But it's also good to understand where diversity is and how to cope with that.
But I don't think you should be focusing on your personal labels.
What's been the reaction from the parents of the kids?
I haven't actually spoken to a single parent about what we did at all, and I think that in itself tells you everything that you need to know. The kids themselves have been phenomenally positive. I've had LGBT kids coming back to us and saying, we're so proud of you, thank you so much, that's going to make a huge difference. We've also had kids who are completely out about being heterosexual coming to us and saying, thank you so much for giving us what you've just given us. But I have not spoken to a single parent about it, and I think no negative backlash at all is something enormous. It really, really is.
Are there areas of your personal life you wouldn't share? Because I think there's a lot of pressures on teachers. You know, the world is full of social media, isn't it now? They are human beings and want to do that.
And our social media is completely inaccessible to our students. You know, you keep your Facebook locked down, you keep your Instagram locked down, because personal life is personal life. We have to have a wall between us and the students. But a friend said to me, but it's got to be made out of glass bricks. They've got to be able to see a bit of your personality, or they won't trust you enough to sit and learn.
We've had an interesting, Luke, we've had an interesting point made by Krista on Twitter. She said it depends, and this is for you, Katie, it depends on the context. Private things, certainly not, but as a teacher who just went through a pregnancy, it was pretty hard not to share that experience with the kids. They often asked about the babies, they asked about the scans. It's very private in nature, but I was happy to share. And we celebrate that. We celebrate
when teachers get married.
I was going to say, teachers will have a picture of them and their wife on their desk, or their background might be their children.
I'm not actually sure that teachers should be focusing so much on themselves as individuals.
But you can't exactly hide it if you're 9 months pregnant.
That is unhideable. Clearly unhideable.
But my life is also unhideable. So when I leave work, I live in the community. Does that mean I have to walk down the street with my partner and not hold his hand? Does it mean I can't have a dinner for two?
I would suggest you get on with your personal life in a personal context, but don't impose it on the children at school.
No,
so I have been
and that
9
applies
months
to everybody,
pregnant,
by the way, all teachers.
Working in a secondary school, and when students say to me, oh, congratulations, miss, and I'm like, oh, thank you very much. And that conversation then goes down to, oh, and my wife and I, and the kids look at you and go, well, how? And that's where the line is. That's where I've said to them, no, that's where I'm not telling you the personal
And if
details.
you didn't mention
There's
your wife,
got to be a
you'd be
line.
hiding something.
Yeah, I'm not going to
wouldn't
lie
you?
to kids that I'm trying to raise to be honest, decent human beings. I can't set a bad example to them. I can't.
Lots of people got in touch with this. Jake says, if a teacher had spoken to us about being gay when I was at school, it would have made me feel less isolated. Section 28 meant that they couldn't talk about that even if you asked for advice. That was a very different time, of course. But clearly it would have made a difference for Jake. But then lots of people saying, Emma saying, I think teachers' private lives should remain private. It's their place of work. There needs to be a divide between work life and private life.
I hope you don't regret it as teachers. I hope you don't then subsequently feel invaded.
No. And this is this thing.
You wouldn't be here if you did.
No. with suicide rates for people who are LGBTU when they're young, if we have saved one person, if we have given that one person that voice in our school, in the wider community by doing this today, we have succeeded at what we want to do. And that's what it's about the students, it's about the young people. And that's why we're teachers and that's why we've done this assembly.
Well, look, we really appreciate you coming and sharing your story. Pam and Luke, thank you very much. And Katie,
Thank you
thanks for
very
joining
much.
us as well.
Thank you very much
you.
indeed.